Hey everyone, Amy with Routers and Ruffles, and I'm back to show you how to make the inside of the pie. This is for a coconut cream pie. Actually coconut meringue pie if you want to be technical. We call it a coconut cream pie. But I already made the crust for it and I did a live video on Facebook for that. And this process would have taken too long, so I'll be able to edit it out and speed it up through some of the steps in this. So with that being said, here we go. Okay, I think I have all my ingredients here. I'm sure that I'll be missing something just because that's how I roll. So I went ahead and just did 3 eggs. So for those of you who have never cracked an egg and put your egg whites in one bowl and egg yolks in the other, I'll show you with my last egg here. And I like to use brown eggs most of the time, but I just crack it on my counter and watch this one be the one not work. They've all just gone pretty smooth. And then you just kind of gently roll it open and then you carefully pour it back and forth into the eggshell until you get it all out. So I'll use the egg yolks for the pie, for the custard part of it, and I'll use the egg whites for the meringue. So thankfully that went over smoothly. So I'm gonna set the whites aside because we don't need that right now. I'll need it later. So I'm gonna mix in 1 1/4 cups of sugar. Like I said, I already measured it out. There's 1, and there's 1/4. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I just kind of eyeball it. There it is. 3 1/2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and I went ahead and just measured that out so we wouldn't have to be standing here waiting. So there's that. 3 cups of milk. Let me mix this around really quick first. I just take a whisk and just kind of stir all that together so that cornstarch gets incorporated there in the sugar. I'm gonna do a little bit of the milk and then I'm gonna mix in the eggs. It'll just make it a little easier to, I'll just pour the eggs in there. Sometimes I will mix them up ahead of time to where they're not whole. Go ahead and stir them around a little bit, but I'm not going to this time. Just mix that up in there really good. And then what we'll do after this is we'll put it in the microwave, and I just do 2 minutes stir, 2 minutes stir, 2 minutes stir, until it's thickened up. I just kind of watch it, but if you do it any more than that, definitely don't go more than 2 minutes because you don't want it to bubble up over the side. Matter of fact, I was a little worried that this bowl might be too small. I've not used this one in my microwave before, so might be a bad idea. Then I'll just pour the rest of the milk in there. I don't know, I probably poured a cup in there the first time and then just finished it off with the last 2 cups and just mix that around. So this just makes a custard, basically a pudding, I guess you would say, and it's just a base for it. And then after I get it thickened up from the microwave, again, 2 minutes stir, 2 minutes stir until it's thick and good. I don't really know how long that takes. I don't know that I've ever counted before. So then I'll come back and I will show you guys what we add in next. Okay, I have gone a total of 8 minutes so far, and it looks like it's just where I like it. I think it'll work good enough. I mean, I could go 2 more minutes. If you get it going too long, you risk all of that bubbling out and over into your microwave, and I sure don't want to do that. Once you set it up in the microwave and the refrigerator, and let it sit there for a while, it'll continue to thicken up. So I think that's really good. Let's just go with that right there. So it's basically just a pudding is what it is. And so now we have a few other ingredients left to add. I need to add a teaspoon of vanilla, and my very favorite is Watkins vanilla. I tried to make it one time. Have my own little jar with my own little label, but I don't know, it's just, there's something about Watkins vanilla, it's just really hard to beat. So teaspoon of vanilla, and if it spills over, that's okay, because we like vanilla That smells really good. And a teaspoon of coconut extract. Again, this is Watkins as well. And I have a website that I order from online. And they ship it out really fast. And it's not a Watkins site. I guess it's probably somebody who sells Watkins products. And then 2 tablespoons of butter. Oops, that almost made a mess. And 1.5 or more cups of coconut. And this is a new batch. I just got it at the grocery store, so it's not freezing cold. But a lot of times I like to have this in the freezer, so then when you dump it in there, it starts to already cool off the pie. So dump that in there. And then I just use a wood spoon and just stir that around in there. I've used the whisk before, and that coconut seems to get all balled up inside the whisk. So there's your free little tip. Don't use the whisk. You can also, and I've done this before, you can also use the clear Watkins vanilla, and then your pie stays just a really pretty color. And, you know, taste is all you're really going for, so it doesn't really matter, right? So wait for that butter to kind of melt in there. And then after we do this, I will show you how to make the meringue. Just need to get that little hunk of butter in there mixed up. It already smells delicious. If you like it more vanilla-y, you could add more vanilla. If you like more coconut flavor, you could add more coconut. You just don't want to add too much. And, you know, I may wish that I did this 2 more minutes, but right now that's what we're going to go with here. So I'm going to grab my partially cooled pie crust. This is the crust that I made earlier. So stuck it in the oven for a while, and we're just going to pour that in here. And I'm going to get a spatula to use to get the rest of that out. A little bit warm. And it's okay if you accidentally leave a little bit in the bowl that you can scrape out later for yourself. That's not a selfish move at all. See, you know, just that last little bit. There's always a spoonful. You gotta try it. Boy, that one filled that one up, which is good. So I'm gonna put this in the fridge while I go ahead. No, I'm not gonna put this in the fridge. I'm gonna make the meringue, and then we're gonna throw it in the oven for just a little bit to brown that meringue on top. Okay, so now we're gonna make the meringue, and the trick to this is I like to add, you know, lots and lots of sugar, and it makes it almost like a marshmallow topping after it gets done. So it's a really, I can't eat a meringue if I can smell the eggs in it. I just kind of gag. I just would rather not. So I'm a little picky about my meringue. So there's 4 egg whites that I had from the custard earlier, remember? And I'm just gonna pour those in my bowl. And I'm gonna whip these. And I'm gonna let you hear what's kind of how it sounds when it's going. And I'll turn it off so you don't have to pay attention, so you don't have to watch these whip, because it takes a little bit for this to happen. So I'll come back in just a little bit after we get some of these whipped. So I just kind of start on low just a little bit so it doesn't splatter out the bowl. And then I just start to gradually kind of turn it up a little bit higher as we go. And it starts to kind of whip until I get it almost on the highest speed I've got here. But I don't like to move it up there too fast, because if you do, then it flops out the bowl and it's awful. So just slowly increase the speed. And on my KitchenAid mixer, I have it on 10. No, I don't. I have it on 8. Mine goes up to 10, but I have it on 8. So I don't think I'm gonna turn it all the way up. Yeah, why not? Let's go on up to 10. So I turned it up to 10. And you can see where it's starting to get really foamy. I'll pull you forward a little bit more so you can see down in the bowl. Okay, we just want to get it to where it can stand at peaks. And I think we're there. It stands up really good. So I just kind of like take this off and get it all off of there. I don't know why, because I'm just getting ready to stir it again. But put this back on here. And then, oh goodness, that knocked it over, knocked my camera over. So then I'm gonna add a ½ teaspoon of cream of tartar and then whip just a little bit more. Again, start out kind of slow, blend it around, and then get it going again. The cream of tartar just keeps it from weeping when it's in the fridge later. Now we're going to gradually add in 1 cup of sugar, just a little bit at a time. And I have my speed probably between 6 and 8. It's not quite at the 8 speed, so I slowed it down just a little bit. So I just keep adding a little bit at a time. I turned it up just a little bit to 8 because it's starting to get a little bit thicker. Once it starts incorporating into the egg whites, it starts to get a little bit shiny, so you can kind of see it changing. I was going to try to scrape down the bowl with that going, but that's probably a terrible idea. The sugar tends to spin out and get all over the sides, so it's good to just give it a once over. See how shiny that starts to get? It's literally like a marshmallow. Give it one more good little stir and then turn it off. And it's still, look at those peaks. That's the best part. See how that stood up? Do you see that in the bowl? Where I pulled that out, that's how you know your meringue is just perfect, when you get those peaks like that. And I just pounce it off on the sides. Okay, I like to just take a big spoon and just kind of get it on your spoon and put it on there. And I try to spread it around as good as I can. And then we'll go back and make the peaks later. I always try to build in the middle first and then go on out, which is probably not the way to go. And what you want to do is just make sure that you get the meringue attached to the edge of the pie crust around here, so you don't have it seep out when you put it in the fridge. See, honestly, you should probably start from the outside and work your way in. Then you wouldn't have the pudding custard insides to try to squish out. And I just gradually go around the edge and try to seal that in. And see what I did? I just got pudding into the top of the crust. We don't want to do that. That makes for a very ugly pie because I was getting in a hurry. Spatula usually works the best. This just kind of seals it to the outer edge. And I'm just kind of pushing it down to the crust. I'll go back and clean this all up out here on the edges before I stick it in the oven to brown the meringue. All right, so there it is. And you can make it look however you want to make it look. I usually just go kind of in circles, make it circly, swirls, and then I just come back with my spatula and make my peaks, because they'll just want to stand up all over the place. And those little peaks are what browns in the oven and makes it look really pretty. This is a little area over here I had some trouble with. I got a little bit of pudding outside of the crust, and now I got a little bit of a mess here, but we'll get it taken care of.
Now, for the moment of a lifetime, the super proposal, brought to you by Fox 25 and Louis Jones. Diana, I love you with all my heart. I couldn't imagine a day without you in my life. Would you make me the happiest man on earth? Will you marry me?
I'll go back and clean all that up off the edges, and I will throw it in the oven for a little bit, and just to brown the top. The oven's still on from when I did my pie earlier, so pie crust earlier. And so I will, I'll clean up those edges, and I'll sprinkle a little bit of coconut on top, and I'll stick it in the oven. Okay, I got it cleaned up pretty good off the edges. Now I just take a little bit of coconut that I have left over from when I made the custard part. Sprinkle that on there. Just here and there, as much as you want. Doesn't take a lot. You got a lot of coconut on the inside, so doesn't take a whole lot, just basically to make it look good. But there's toasted coconut is pretty good. All right. Okay, so I put it in the oven for 5 minutes, and there it is.